Educational GMAT. Your partner in your GMAT journey.
This is a very tricky question. Again, this is an official question. This will take some time. So I will encourage you guys to first try to understand this. Not easy to understand, actually. Okay, if you have an understanding on this, tell me what are the sewing machines needed for? Are they needed for jackets or dress shirts? What are the sewing machines needed for?
Dress, shirts.
Now, that's where I would encourage you to read, because this is not an easy argument. We need the new sewing machines for the jacket contract, which will not be finished in time for us to make dress shirts unless we start the jackets next week. Can someone tell me what's your understanding of this sentence, the first sentence? What is the whole plan? To manufacture the jackets first or dress shirts first?
Um, they want to manufacture the jackets first so they can
Very nice.
manufacture dress shirts in time.
Absolutely. And when will they be able to make dress shirts? When they start the.
Jackets next week.
Very nice. They want to start the manufacturing of jackets next week. So, since they want to start the manufacturing of jackets next week, which means the installation of these new sewing machines must be completed this week because they need those sewing machines for the jacket contract. But then to install the machines this week, they must pay the workers overtime, for which there is no money. Now, this is the opinion of the accountant. What does the executive say? Executive is saying that we can, instead of instead of dress shirts, what can we manufacture?
Sweatshirts.
Very nice, sweatshirts. What is the advantage of this, by the way, according to the executive? According to the executive, what is the
It
benefit of
uh,
manufacturing? Yes.
it'll be as profitable, but
Yes.
they'll not have time constraints. It can be
Very
started too.
nice. So they are getting basically a 2 week breather, right? If I may say so. So clearly, right? So that way they would essentially get 2 weeks more. So for the executives plan to succeed in what is the whole goal? Avoiding the need for overtime. Which of the following must be true? For the executives plan to succeed in avoiding the need for overtime, which of the following must be true?
Sir, E.
A sweatshirt does not take longer to sew than a dress shirt.
Sir, is it B?
The new sewing machines can be installed by end of next week without overtime work. As I said, this is not easy. This is not easy, guys. Let's understand it through a diagram. Let's understand it through a diagram. So this is what the accountant is conveying, guys, right? Uh, Basically, next week, jacket manufacturing should start. So which means in this week, what should happen? Within this week, what should happen according to the accountant? Installation of new sewing machines. Remember, sewing machines are needed for jackets. So the accountant is saying that in order to start the manufacturing of jackets next week, the installation of sewing machines should be completed within this week. And for this to happen, for installation of sewing machines to be complete this week, what must we do? We must pay workers overtime. So this is what the accountant is saying, right? And let us say jacket manufacturing, let us say takes 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. And then immediately after jacket manufacturing is complete, what will happen? Dress shirt manufacturing should start. And let us say in nth week, dress shirt manufacturing is also complete. So this is basically the position of the accountant. Now, since we have this reference diagram, can someone tell me what improvement over this diagram or schedule is the executive suggesting? See, right now the accountant is saying that according to this plan, right, for this plan to complete in time ultimately, this all of this depends upon the ability to install sewing machines this week, but that would require overtime. Now, executive obviously has a plan to avoid paying the workers overtime. What is that plan? What is the plan that the executive has? The plan that the executive has is that instead of dress shirts, let's manufacture sweatshirts. And as Isha rightly pointed out, what's the advantage? What's the benefit? That sweatshirts would also be as profitable as the dress shirts are. But what's the additional advantage? What's the additional advantage?
They give a 2 week buffer to the.
Absolutely. So, which means, according to the executive, if right now dress shirts are starting in C plus seventh week, when can the manufacture of sweatshirts start? 2 weeks later, right? Notice the contract can be started 2 weeks later. So according to executive, 2 extra weeks for installation of sewing machines will be available if we switch from dress shirts to sweatshirts, right? 2 additional weeks. So which means dress shirts had to be started in C plus 5 weeks. Sweatshirts, however, can be started in C plus seventh week and still finish the work in whatever time it was stipulated. So which means these are the 2 additional weeks, right, that are now available to us for installation of sewing machines. Is the diagram clear? The plan that accountant had, sewing machines had to be installed in the current week so that jackets and dress shirts are completed within the stipulated time. As per the plan of the executive, now instead of just the current week for installing sewing machines, we have current week plus 2 additional weeks for installation of sewing machines. Since we have 2 additional weeks for the installation of sewing machines, the executive is hoping that there would be no overtime required, right? Overtime was required to install the sewing machines in the current week. But now we have 2 additional weeks for installation of sewing machines, right?
Sir, is this an official question?
Yes.
Are all questions going to be this?
No, this is definitely a difficult level question. This is definitely a very difficult level question. So don't be intimidated by this, but try to understand, absorb the information, Isha.
Yes, sir.
All right. So through new machines without the overtime work, right? If new sewing machines are installed without the overtime work. Now, this is that case, right? New machines are installed without the overtime work. Can someone tell me how many extra weeks are we getting to install the sewing machines? In this plan, how many extra weeks are we getting to install the sewing machines?
2 weeks.
Correct. 2 extra weeks, right? These are those 2 extra weeks. What if installation of sewing machines without overtime takes 3 additional weeks? Then will this plan work?
No.
No. No, it will not. See, if it takes 3 extra weeks, right? If installation of sewing machines without overtime takes 3 extra weeks, then jacket manufacturing will start only here, right? So in that case, how much time do we have for the jacket contract to finish? This much. So which means then what would happen? While you are saving time, saving overtime for sewing machines, then you would have to pay overtime for jacket manufacturing contract to finish on time. Are you guys with me?
Yes, sir.
Correct. So, but as per the executive plan, since the plan is to avoid overtime, right? So this is what I have. What if without the overtime, installation of sewing machines does not happen within the extra 2 weeks, right? So let us say without the overtime, sewing machine installation takes 3 additional weeks instead of 2. In that case, we would fall short of 1 week for jacket manufacturing. And since we are falling short of time for jacket manufacturing, then we have to pay workers overtime for jacket manufacturing. Right? So then clearly for the plan of executive to work, this scenario should not happen. And that's exactly what Charlie is saying. if the new sewing machines are installed without overtime work, the jacket contract can be completed on time without overtime work. So basically, what this is doing is it's essentially saying that with the executive plan, while we are saving on overtime for installation of sewing machines, but it should not so happen that the overtime that we are paying for installation of sewing machines ends up in us giving overtime to complete the jacket contract on time. So that's what Charlie is saying. So if the new sewing machines are installed without overtime work, which is the case here, then the jacket contract can be completed on time without overtime work.